Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little children, small dogs and cats, you are now watching Team Destruction TV, where I am the Donbot, and today we'll be talking about charming in EverQuest. So get out your enchanters. Let's go. What is up, all you beautiful people? Today we're going to be talking about charm and your enchanter, and the main things that you need to know when you start charming, especially in the higher levels. If you're new to the game, this is going to be pretty good for you because it'll really put you in the higher tier of enchanters. So there's three things that we're going to have to work on. And basically, the three fundamentals are managing your resources, and your healer's resources, their mana. Your mana is used to conserve their mana, because the second you run out of healer mana, the second your group stops functioning. The second is mitigating the backlash of your pet, because your pet, if you're hasted, has pet weapons, can do some serious damage and can drain your healer's mana really quickly. And the third and final thing is managing your threat, not only with mezzes, but with debuffs or any other job that you decide to take on while you're charming. So the first thing we're going to go over is, why do you charm? You charm because it is the highest DPS meta in TLP. Your pet does so much DPS that it winds up tanking the mob. Your pet's health is mostly expendable. They're very easy to heal, and they pull threat very quickly because of how much damage they do. So they protect the squishy people who don't have as much gear because it is a TLP setting. It is the most efficient way to deal damage in TLP EQ. The effectiveness of a charm pet is literally a charm pet can deal as much damage as a group full of melee DPS. A charm pet can deal as much damage as a high tier DPS class, like a mage. Charm pet can deal as much damage by itself. If you factor in their nukes and the cost of their nukes and how long it takes them to get that mana back, they basically come out even. So with that being said, to manage your resources, you basically want to try and stay 100% mana. That sounds really bad, but hear me out. Alright, so when you reach 100% mana, that is when you can cast extra stuff. And it's not so that you have enough mana to deal with charm breaks. It's mainly so that you don't have to sit down. Once you reach 100% mana, you cast whatever it is you want to cast. You want to cast a slow or whatever. You can sit down, get 100% mana, stand back up. The reason why you want to be standing is because when the charm breaks, if you are sitting down, it will bypass all of your AC. It'll bypass most of your dodge. Okay? You can dodge from behind. You can dodge while sitting down. But that's the only roll you get. Every hit that you take will be for max damage. And towards the end of the game, in TLP standings like Classic, a Rock Golem will deal about 170, 180 damage a hit. It can hit up to 2 or 3 times, which means that immediately on a Charm Break, you're going to be down 600 hit points. If you are unbuffed, that is half of your health. Okay? So, with that being said, by the time you make it to your first stun, if your stun is resisted, that could be it. So in order to mitigate this, what can we do? At 100% mana, we can cast Rune on ourselves, which will negate most of that beginning damage and removes a very important part of the interrupt cycle that a monster can put you through, which is movement. Whenever you take damage in this game, it pushes you. Push interrupts spells more than stuns do, because stuns are on a cooldown for each individual monster. Some attacks can proc stun, but mostly what you're going to be looking for is the bash. The bash can stun you. If you have rune up, any damage that is blocked does not push you, meaning that your chance of getting a spell off due to push is very, very high, because you're not going to move very much. It will not block stuns. You will get stunned. So with that being said, not only will Rune prevent damage, but it will prevent how fast your healer needs to heal you. If they can understand that your pet is broken, that you will need to heal soon, it's a lot better than being half dead before they understand that your pet is broken and that you need a heal. You can also position your back to a corner, where if you're hit by a monster, the push cannot push you anywhere. That will increase your chances of getting Charm off a lot better. But mainly, Charm is not your issue. You want to get your stuns off. Your stun is going to allow you to cast your Charm. The safest way and most meta way to reestablish your Charm on a broken pet is you stun first, then you Tash, then you cast another stun that hopefully your bigger stun, which will give you enough time to Charm without taking damage. On the pet break, when it happens, you can have your pet actually assigned to one of your extended targets as a current target. Once that is established, if he breaks or he's still alive, he will be here. Until he dies, then it'll go back to an auto extended target. But if you do not have a target, and you have a bunch of stuff that you've been mezzing, and you don't want to get caught trying to cycle with your cycle targets hotkey, you can click on it right there in your extended target and then immediately go for your Tash or whatever it is you're doing. On pet break, it should be instinct. You just hit your stun key no matter what. You see a break, you hit your stun key. He's coming for you. Very, very rarely will a charm pet decide that it's just going to attack some random party member instead of attack the enchanter. With that being said, after charm is done and you can send them back in, then you're going to be lower mana. At that point, you can sit down. But in order to reach number 3, which is your threat management, whenever you're sitting down, regenerating your mana and you have a charm pet, when a pool comes into the camp, press a movement key to stand up before you send your pet in. If you do that, the mobs will not run directly to you. If you send your pet in while you're sitting down, the first target they're going to pick is you because you're vulnerable. The enemies know if you have low health, below 30%, they will beeline to you. Nobody will be able to get it off of you until you reach a higher threshold of health. Or they can beeline to you because you're vulnerable, because you're sitting down. Those are the modifiers to aggro that you need to know about. So with all that being said, this video is really just about charming, so we're not going to go into the nitty-gritty about how you should buff yourself, what stats you should have to mitigate the damage that's going to be coming in. But basically, take care of your pet, take care of the threat that you generate, and keeping your mana high will keep your healer's mana high, and if your healer's mana is high, then your group never stops pulling. Sometimes you do have the unfortunate thing where like charm does not last this long, where Tash lands its whole duration and then your charm is, the break you feel like is imminent. Sometimes it breaks back to back. Sometimes it doesn't even land. Those things are why you keep 100% mana, because sometimes you just have to keep pumping mana into that pet. You need to be able to haste your party members, haste your pet at all times, and all that stuff does cost mana. But until you hit 100%, you really should not consider doing extra jobs besides mezzing. You shouldn't consider slowing, you shouldn't consider incapacitating, and depending on the situation and how fast your group is pulling, you may not be able to use the highest versions of that. I have all 3 of my slow levels on my bar. If I feel like slowing needs to be done, if it's a slow group, they're not pulling very much, I will do the big slow. That's fine. You can afford it if the group is slow. But when you're kicking out an extra 175 mana per big target, that really hurts. But if your group is a bit faster and you can't afford that, what if you used a level like the level 1 version instead? That one only takes 50 mana. You can spam that a lot more. And by using lower levels of your debuffs, you can get more done for less mana and save more healer mana. because that is the purpose of your debuffs. Your dots, while they are great, good efficiency and good damage, there's only one monster in the game that's going to live long enough against a charm pet group that's going to merit ever casting that, and they have so much HP that it's not going to matter, and that's a rock golem, because they have 8,000 health. So with that being said, your biggest dot only being 900 damage, I believe, is what it comes out to being. You're not going to be able to merit keeping that up on that rock golem while maintaining your own rock golem. And that is basically the charm reset that I was talking about. I'm glad the video lasted long enough so that you could see it, but that is the basics of charm. I hope you better understand it, especially if you're new. It is the meta. It is how Chanters carry groups. Chanters bring a lot of experience gained to a party, so if you're going to do it, I tip my hat to you. I hope you're my enchanter. I hope you use these principles and get me a lot of XP on my alts, because I do love grouping with some good chanters. So until next time, if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, click that thumbs up, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.